Timmy Glazer.
Good morning, this is Occupier Kaylin coming to you live from outside the Community Choice
Hey, you got the speaker?
Credit Union Veterans Auditorium.
Here, Lola!
I got it. Oh, here, can you hear me? Yeah, let's just line up along the street. Right, we're gonna sit some people.
Where members of Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement are going to protest the Ag Summit put on by former Iowa Board of Regents Chair President Bruce Ratstetter. He is also in agribusiness.
Don't get so close! Spread out! You guys are too close!
And he has invited the Trump-appointed U.S. Ag Secretary
Spread
here.
out!
So people are taking their signs and spreading out, so I will be walking up and down the line. There will be some speakers. Oh.
Good morning!
There you go, you're live.
When our water is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our pollinators are under attack, what do we do? When our water is
There will be some echo because the sound will be bouncing off that building across the street.
under attack, what do we do?
So I think there are enough people here to actually spread this entire block. And this position is so that attendees at this event will have to see these signs. Others who were not able to meet us here at the CCI office have chosen to just meet us here. Oh! Might want to stick that in your pocket. This is the same building where CCI had their convention, which I was at and I streamed. I'm just gonna pause and shoot a few pictures.
Hey, Bruce, come on up. See what I was all about. Hey, Bruce, come on up. See what I was all about. Hey, Bruce, come on up. See what I was all about. Hey, come on up. See what I was all about. Hey, Bruce, come on up. See what I was all about. Hey, Bruce, come on up.
Sorry about that little jitter there. I was tucking my tablet away. I'm gonna walk down the line. Oops, sorry about that. The chant is, "Hey Bruce, you are the worst. Time to put the people first." I'm going to go on the other side of this construction alert sign. Hey Bruce, what's it going to be? Corporate rule or democracy is the chant now. Bust up big egg is a chant. It's a rehash of bust up big banks, which is one of the chants that Occupy used before. This is where the speakers will be.
We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution. We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution.
We don't want your false solution.
Hey, Bruce, come on out. See what I was all about. Hey, Bruce, come on out. See what I was all about. Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. Time to put the people first. Hey, Bruce, come on out. Let's see what I was all about. Tell me what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution.
Switching up the
We
chants.
don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution.
It might be hard to hear the people respond because they have spread themselves out to cover nearly the entire block.
We don't want your false solutions. We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution.
We don't want your false solution. We are sick of your pollution is the chant. So that be a switching up between all of these different chants. When our water is under attack, that can substitute any phrase, like when our pollinators are under attack. So you hear different renditions of that. Got a honk from a truck driver. She just said we're going to start the speak out, so people who have prepared little speeches will be getting ready to do that. So I'm moving back up to where the little stand has been placed that serves as a podium. It's just a music stand. Very portable. If you want a lightweight podium, a music stand works great for that. We are unstoppable, and other world is possible as a current chant.
When family farms are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up like that.
When family farms are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up like that.
When our water is under attack, what
There are a couple of people who are at a couple other locations who are going to be handing out flyers. There are people who are also on the inside who register to get in, and they may try to sneak a recording or do something. I won't be in there because I'll be out of here, but a police officer has showed up.
Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. It's time to put the people first.
Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. It's time to put the people first.
Hey,
was
Bruce,
sure enough, I
you're
couldn't
the
even
worst. It's time to
get
put
that
the
conversation.
people first.
Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. It's time to put the people first.
Hey, Bruce, come on out. Let's see what I was all about.
Hey, Bruce.
Keep this up for a while, and then maybe cover folks up, kind of thing.
I'm gonna say we don't want your false
Might end up being shorter. I mean, it's might be more of a, but it seems like when I handed out stuff, I handed out a bunch of things. There's not a lot of people in there. And it's just like you walk in there and just walk around and just leaving stuff on tables and handing stuff out to people. Hey, Timmy Glaze, I've got a guy coming, got a customer. I think so. Something like that. Yeah, I'm surprised that there's not that many people. Well, not quite. If we went in there, that would definitely go in there.
Some flyering still being done.
Justice!
We just pass out flyers inside and all that. And I said, oh, okay, why run out of flyers? But I think it's still okay if you guys, because we didn't ID you guys. I think it's okay if you guys were in there handing out things too. And then just, who comes up to me and has this time we work with it.
Hey, Bruce, what's it gonna be? Corporate rule or democracy? What's it gonna be? Corporate rule or democracy? Hey, Bruce, what's it gonna be? Corporate rule or democracy? Hey, Bruce, what's it gonna be? Corporate rule or
Hey, Bruce, come on out. Let's see what Iowa's all about.
Hey, Bruce, come on out. See what Iowa's all about. Hey,
Hey, Bruce, come on out. Let's see what Iowa's all about.
Hey, Bruce, come on out. See what Iowa's all about.
Hey, Bruce, come on out. Let's see what Iowa's all about.
It looks like the speaker is going to be moved.
Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. It's time to put the people first.
Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. Time to
Hey,
put
Hannah.
the people first.
Where'd you use this? This sounds more like God.
It sounds more like
more like this powerful. Heather.
it's.
A microphone is scary for me, you know this.
No, it's not.
When do we want justice? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
I'm gonna say we don't want your false solutions. You say we are sick of your pollution. We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution. We don't want your false solutions.
We are sick of your pollution!
We don't want your false solutions.
We are sick of your pollution!
We don't want your false solutions.
We are sick of your pollution!
We don't want your false solutions.
We are sick of your pollution!
We don't want your false solutions.
We are sick of your pollution!
Hey, Bruce, come on out. Let's see what Iowa's all about.
Hey, Bruce, come on out! Let's see what Iowa's all about!
Hey, Bruce, come on gonna be? Corporate rule or democracy?
What's it gonna be? Corporate rule or democracy?
Hey, Bruce, what's it gonna be? Corporate rule or democracy?
Got another honk from a driver passing by.
Corporate rule or democracy? Woo! When our water is under attack, what do we do? When family farms are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When our bees are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When our soil is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When our health is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When our water is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When family farms are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When our soil is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When pollinators are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Find a poster yesterday. I'll have to
All right.
It's a
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!
When do we want justice? When do we want it now is the current chant.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it? Now! What do we want? What do we want?
Woo!
What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it?
Justice is referring to food justice,
When do we want
family
it?
farms, not factory farms,
When do we
local control of food protection, justice for farm workers, that sort of thing. Bust up, Big Ag.
We don't want it!
We don't want it, shut it down.
We don't want it!
Shut it down!
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 Tell me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks
Hey,
like!
everybody say hi to Tom Philpott here from Mother Jones, one of our workshop speakers. Thanks, Tom.
Mother Jones.
Bright and early.
Where's your hat?
Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. Time
Mother
to
Jones
put the people first. Hey, Bruce,
is a
you're the worst. Time to put the people first.
long-running people's media source. They do investigative journalism.
Hey, Bruce, you're
Their
the
Mother
worst.
Jones
Time to put
can
the
be found
people
on the
first.
internet.
Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. Time to put the people first. Hey, Bruce, you're the worst. Time to put the people first. Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no.
Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no, is a current chant.
Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no. Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no. Family farms, yes. Factory farms,
Someone was just handed a flyer before she goes in.
Factory farms, no. Bust up.
Big Ag!
Bust up. Bust up.
Big ass!
Bust up.
Big Ag!
Bust up.
Big Ag! Big Ag!
Heather picked up the bullhorn to help Jess amplify the chants. A map has been placed down here that shows the location of all the
All right, we're gonna try
factory
one over
farms.
here. try
jump
one
sites.
here in honor of keynote speaker Sonny Perdue.
Sonny Perdue is a U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, a corporate lackey. Hey, Sonny, this ain't funny. Farmers first and not your money.
Hey, Lori.
That is the current chant addressing Sonny Perdue. I'm not sure of the spelling of Purdue. It could be the same as Purdue University.
Bruce, what's it gonna be?
P-U-R-D-U-E or P-E-R-D-U-E, not sure, but be a name worth looking up. There's someone who just crossed. This guy is wearing a badge. Could be talking to a couple of the CCI members briefly.
We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your solutions. We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution. We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution. We don't want your false solutions. We are sick of your pollution. Woo!
Someone else is just giving the flyers that go in. I think this
Bust
is
up! Bust up! Bust up! Bust up! Bust up!
Hugh has some.
Bust up!
Looks like we have
Bust
another
up!
quote unquote
Bust up!
summit
Bust
official.
up!
She's wearing a tag.
Bust up! 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 All right, way to go. Make sure the cars and the media see those signs.
Another honk by that blue car that just went by.
Got a honk. Okay, we're going to do another crowd favorite. Family Farms, yes. Factory Farms, no. Do you remember that one? All right, here we go. Family Farms, yes. Factory Farms, no. Family Farms, Factory Farms, Family Farms, Factory Farms, Family Farms, Factory Farms.
So we have two of the CCI speakers.
Family Farms, Factory Farms, Family Farms, Factory Farms. All right, way to go, Heather. What chant should we do? We're gonna beat back the ag attack. We're gonna beat back big ag attack. We're gonna beat
back big ag attack. We're gonna beat back big ag attack is the current chant.
Beat back big ag attack. We're gonna beat back big ag attack. We're gonna beat back big ag attack. We're gonna beat back big ag attack. Beat back big ag attack.
Substitute any words in that particular chant to tailor to the theme of the protest.
Back big ag attack. And then he dropped the microphone. No, he didn't. We'd like to introduce one of our DJ specialists. DJ Matt, you want to come up and lead us in some chants? DJ Matt is known throughout the metro area. Here he is.
Thanks, Hugh.
Otherwise known as Matt
We'll go
Olaf.
back to another classic.
Bust up, big egg! Bust up, big egg!
Bust up.
Big egg!
Bust up.
Big egg!
Bust up.
Big egg!
Bust up.
Bust up!
Bust up.
Big egg!
Bust up. All right, how's everybody feeling this morning? That's right, we got to confront corporate power today.
We're going to do, should we,
Yeah, let's get right here. Let's do our speak out.
All right, all the speakers want to gather by the speaker. Let's move it this way, folks.
so move these folks down. We're going to assemble right in here.
Big rally right here. Everybody come on here.
Heather, you might want to take the bullhorn and go down there. crowd is
has got to go. Hey, hey.
they're closing up around here.
Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got
There's
to
a
go.
big
Hey,
head
hey.
of
Ho, ho. Big
Bruce
Ag has got
Ratstetter
to
with
go.
a crown
Hey,
on his
hey.
head.
Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey.
A little disappointed in the young people that are not jumping. Young people jump. You know why you jump? It makes us look more powerful and dangerous. Everybody jump. In particular, young people. Young people that don't jump are kind of loafing.
Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Big Ag has got to go. Hey, hey.
Bust up!
Big Ag.
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 We don't want it!
Shut it down.
We don't. It's been a long morning already. Alright, tell me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like.
We don't want your false solutions! We are sick of your pollution! We don't want your false solutions! We are sick of your pollution! We don't want your false solutions! We are sick of your pollution! Alright, here in a minute, when Cherie gets over here and catches her breath, she's gonna kick us off. Just a chance while she catches her breath. Alright. We're gonna beat back big ads attack. 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 We're gonna beat back big ads attack.
Hello, justice fighters! You look awesome out there today. Hey, this is a great opportunity to expose the hypocrisy of an Ag
Mortis.
Summit. Yeah. Organized and controlled by the kingmaker and grand poobah of corporate ag, Bruce Ratstetter. We know that Bruce Ratstetter represents a snake oil salesman approach. Yeah. Because this summit is all about protecting business as usual that pollutes and degrades and continues to diminish our natural resources, and it lines his pockets. It is, you know what? Our vision is about encouraging sustainable practices and improving soil and water quality. That's what we're here for. Ratstetter Summit is about ensuring the cycle of dirty energy through the protection of endless corn production that is refined into petroleum products that pollutes our airways and our waterways. Our vision is about transitioning to clean energy by supporting rural renewable
wind and solar energy that is far more cost effective. Rastetter Summit is about fattening the pockets of big oil and big ag tycoons like himself and championing a race to the bottom in environmental degradation. But our vision is about protecting real family farmers that are using sustainable methods that enrich the soil, protect our water, and produce chemical and drug-free food and restores biodiversity. Just look at the corporate lackeys. He is invited to approach his throne and kiss his ring. Kim Reynolds, Joni Ernst, Chuck Grassley, and last but not least, Sonny Perdue, who is a climate denier. And Sonny Perdue loves the factory farm industry. We're going to be telling you more about him later. Listen, we got a great lineup of folks to talk to you and share some of their thoughts. But first of all, we're going to let Executive Director Hugh Epstein kind of kick this off and describe to you some of Rastetter's shenanigans.
Shenanigan, that's an Irish word. What does that mean?
Yeah, bullshit.
Oh, bullshit. Thank you. Thank you. She's Canadian, too. So we got people here from Guthrie County, right? Oh, well, yeah. We got people here from Johnson County, right? Yeah. What time did you folks get up?
Like 4:30.
4:30. Did anybody get up earlier than 4:30 today? Oh, sorry. I wouldn't have asked that question. I thought, no. Okay, what time do you get up, Steph?
Today?
Oh, 4. Oh, at 4. Did anybody get up earlier than 4?
Yeah, I did.
Liar. All
It's just
Larry got up at
picking on
3:30.
Larry
You get the prize.
Ginther.
All right, very good. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about Bruce Rastetter. By the way, I'm just telling you real quickly, there weren't a whole lot of folks in there. Me and Matt and Tim were in there just like little worker bees handing out flyers, walking around all over in there, into their meeting room and out and handing out flyers, and people were taking them, and we were saying that yellow flyer, that's our it's a challenge to Rastetter's corporate ag vision. Yeah. And then the Hy-Vee people, who, by the way, we worked with several weeks ago. They got a great staff. They helped us with our convention. He came over and he said, oh, yeah, you're in. Yeah, and he's like, you got a great staff. And he goes, no, I'm going to have to ask you folks to not block our door. And I said, oh, no, we're not blocking your door. And he goes, but you got to be on the other side of the street. And I said, well, I don't understand. This is a public sidewalk, right? And he goes, well, they rented the whole thing. And it's like, but this is our sidewalk. Whose sidewalk? Our sidewalk. Whose sidewalk? Our sidewalk. Whose sidewalk? Our sidewalk. Our sidewalk is not for sale. And I get to say that to Ed. I just said, well, I don't understand. See, we're not blocking the door and it's a public sidewalk. He goes, yeah, I know, I understand. I said, well, so I think we're kind of reaching a consensus here. So then Ed went back inside and whatever. So that's the deal. So they were trying to push us off over there. We said, this is okay. We like this spot because this is our sidewalk. Whose sidewalk? Our sidewalk. Whose sidewalk? Our sidewalk. Whose street? Our street. Whose street? Our street. Whose state? Our state. That's right. So we've had a long history with Bruce Rastetter. We start, by the way, does that speaker work all right? Yeah. Does it work okay? Very good. So we started fighting Bruce in 1996 up in Hardin County. Where's Nicky Shute? Nick is from Alden, Iowa. What time did you get up today? 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. You were a late riser. Larry got up at 3. So we started fighting Bruce up in Nick's hometown. We got a customer coming, Tim, up in Hardin County in 96 because he was building lots of Heartland pork factory farms, okay? And then a year later, we started fighting him in Davis County, down in southeast Iowa. Why? Because he was building lots of factory farms. He was interested in making money, lots and lots of money at our expense.
That's right.
And he was also interested in using his money power, his economic power. Make sure this young man gets a flyer. It's a challenge to corporate ag.
He declined a flyer.
But he wanted to use his money power, his economic power, to build his political power. Got another customer right here.
Save our water.
And that's the way it works in our economy. If
He took it.
Hey, he's going to carry our message inside. Very good. So, but that's the way it works in our economy.
Unless he throws
if you
it
got a lot
away.
of money, then you use that money to get a lot of political power because you want to set the rules of the game so that they benefit you. That's the way it's played here. And we've said people in, money out. People in, money out. People in, money out. People in, money out. So in the late 90s and in the early 2000s, Bruce got more and more involved in politics, and he was making political contributions, okay? And people were going to say, oh yeah, he was making political contributions to all the Republicans. Yeah. He was making contributions to Democrats, too.
That's right.
And to the Iowa Democratic Party.
That's right.
The Democratic Party
Playing
of
both
Iowa
sides.
was accepting money from Rastetter. The Iowa Republican Party was accepting money from Rastetter. Two sides of the same coin.
That's right.
That's why we got to do politics differently. That's it. No. So he was not only polluting our water with his factory farms, he was polluting our political system, our democracy.
That's right.
With his money. That's what he was doing. That was part of his plan. But in 2004, and Nikki Schute's going to remember this, the hog factory business got to be just too much for Bruce. He was underwater. He was highly leveraged. He was going out to Wall Street getting financing for his factory farms back here in little old Iowa. In fact, Heartland Pork, his company, in 2003...
Honked by a driver going by.
Another customer. His company lost $23 million in 2003. That's a lot of money. Who here has lost $23 million in 1 year? Who's here has ever had $23 million?
Not even
I was close
23,000.
to it because I've been close to Bruce before, so I've been close to it. So he sold his factory farm to an outfit, a factory farm corporation up in Minnesota called Christensen Farms. They like to call themselves Christensen Family Farms. That's shenanigans.
That is shenanigans.
That's BS. It's a factory farm. Yeah. So then when he did that, he got more involved in ethanol. Okay, ethanol. And then he also kept getting involved in politics. In fact, in 2010, when Branstad ran for re-election against Chet Culver, Bruce was Branstad's biggest money giver. He gave Branstad over $160,000, and he was also Branstad's biggest money getter. So he was giving money and getting money to help Branstad get elected. And when Branstad got re-elected, Bruce said, hey, you know what?
Another honk by a car going by.
Bruce said, because I don't just give you money because I want to help the democratic process, and I believe in our country, and I'm just helping fuel. No. He wanted something, and he wanted to be on the Board of Regents. That's the school board for our 3 state universities. And what did Branstad
And
do?
the 2 special schools. Iowa School
He
for the
did
Blind
it.
and
He obliged
Iowa
because
School for the
Bruce
Deaf.
was his money guy. And so he was put onto the Board of Regents. And then we found out in early 2011 that we learned about Bruce was trying to use his influence on the Board of Regents and at Iowa State University. Go Hawks! Psycho, sorry. But he was using his influence on the Board of Regents and at Iowa State to do a land grab in Tanzania that Jess talked about earlier. In Tanzania, you know why? Because he wanted to export modern agriculture to Tanzania over in Eastern Africa. Modern agriculture, modern livestock factory farm agriculture, modern crop production, which is lots and lots of chemicals, lots and lots of GMOs, lots of fossil fuel, lots and lots of debt, and what we would call big-ass tractors. Huge, not just big, huge tractors. So we found out about that. CCI and other groups in Iowa and across the country and across the globe found out about that Tanzanian land grab. By the way, it would have
Occupy
pushed
Des Moines was also involved in
160
that
Burundian
effort
farmers
to
who were
stop
working
Bruce
the
Rastretter's
land, making a living for
Tanzania land
themselves
grab.
and their families. It would have pushed them off the land. 160,000. What did I say? 1,600?
160.
Well, 160 plus 160,000. But we found out about CCI and other groups in Iowa, across the country, across the globe, stepped in and we shut that down. But Bruce is persistent. He didn't give up. So then he says, okay, he wanted to export modern agriculture to Tanzania over in Africa. He said, you know what? I'm going to build a big ethanol plant down in Brazil. That's what I'm going to do. So he and his company, Summit Ag Group, last year broke ground on the biggest ethanol plant in Brazil. And we're assuming that plant is not going to put people and planet first. It's all about making lots and lots of money. It's about putting profits before people and corporations before communities. So you can see over the past 20 plus years, Bruce has been very consistent about doing that, about advancing his vision of corporate agriculture, not just here, but across the globe, not just in Iowa, not just in the U.S., across the globe. We have to be just as committed to fighting for an economic system and a food system and an energy system that serves the common good, the public interest. Yeah. We have to be just as committed to fight for government of, by, for the people. And we have to be just as committed to make our communities more just, fight like hell to make our communities more just, more humane, more small d democratic. Mic check!
Polk County deputies are here.
Mic check! You're supposed to say mic check. Mic check! Mic check! Big social change!
They are going back inside. I guess they didn't want to come out and play.
Not the top down!
Not the top down.
Big social change!
Big social change.
Comes from make people live! People power!
People power.
Grassroots movement!
Grassroots movement.
Big social change!
Big
Big social
Means
change
we all do better!
means we all do better.
do better.
And we all do better!
And we all do better.
do better.
That's it, let's do this thing, people!
There's Hugh Espy.
Okay, we've got a nice lineup of some other speakers coming up here. Nick Shute. From County, he's going to give us some insight on some of the real reality and some of his own history. Ow!
Go Nick!
Another honk by a person going by.
Hello, everyone.
Hi!
I'm Nick Shute. the
Michael,
family
that mic up!
Right up to your chin.
Mic check.
I'm Nick Shute, a family farmer from Hardin County. Not only am I a farmer, but I'm a neighbor to Bruce Rastetter. While Bruce is over there giving Sonny Perdue and Kim Reynolds a scoop on how he represents Iowa agriculture, I'm going to give you my take on Iowa agriculture. What I have here is a handy-down of my father's. It's 70-some years old. He wore these as a little boy and handed them down to me, which I also wore. So they have great meaning to me. Like many things here in Iowa, tradition means a lot to people. At one time when farming was good, we had neighbors who were neighbors. People who cared about one another and the environment.
Child's
Someone would
bib
come over and help
overalls.
put the cattle in or harvest grain before the weather turned bad without expecting anything in return. The only thing they would ever consider for repayment was the same consideration for help in their time of need. This resulted in a happy, healthy community where neighbors were neighbors and helped one another from time to time. But where did we go wrong? As I've looked at these overalls over the years, I noticed a few thin spots, a few tears. Okay, there's a lot of tears. Tears I see not only in this piece of clothing, but in Iowa agriculture. As a neighbor, our neighbors are any more once friendly. Sorry, back up here. As a neighbor, are not neighbors anymore. The once friendly hand used to be able to secure a deal with a handshake is now replaced with a knife ready to meet another with a jab in the back. That's how I felt when I went to work for Bruce Rastetter. The once friendly employer had an agenda to stick a cattle CAFO northwest of my bedroom window.
CAFO stands for Confined Animal Feeding Operation.
Visited about his proposal with me in disagreement, and I tried to find a better location or solution to this newfound problem I was being faced with. problems were covered up with fake promises. Fake promises like road issues would be kept up on top of. As they already contacted the county for additional grading to prevent any future problems, or the fact that the flies wouldn't be a problem, as they would come around and spray my house and yard. The gravel road dust and the smell wouldn't be a problem, as the windbreaks they plant would buffer any smell. Nothing but fake promises, as my entire road has been reworked at taxpayer expense. The flies were sprayed at my house a tops of maybe 2 times. The windbreaks are the same size today as when they planted them, not helping out with any of the odor issues and the dust control due to the feed trucks. I've only seen the application of dust control applied twice, so yes, a big list of fake promises from Bruce Rastetter. With this being said, the more questions I asked and the more resistance I put up to the fake promises, the more they decided I didn't need to be part of their team. I was told to leave, and that feeling of that knife twisting ever so deep in my back. Not only did I lose my job, but I have the constant reminder of the fake promises I was told as I deal with the capos on a daily basis.
That ain't right.
So like I said, this once new pair of overalls some 70 years ago, worn by my father and handed down to me to wear, meant enough to me to hand them down to my daughters to wear with even more tears and missing material. So where do we go here with the overhauls? Do they outlive their use and fulfillness and get thrown out just like our family farmers?
No.
Or do we need to stand up, speak out, and let them be handed down generation to generation? Like my father's farm ground, which a portion will be left to me, handed down to my daughters. When does the unraveling of material stop? When do we have neighbors volunteer to help and mend the overhauls? It's going to take a little patchwork, and I know we can do it by standing up to Big Ag. Iowa takes a great pride in recognizing Century Farms at the state fair, but does very little to protect the family farmers that are left, and almost nothing for Iowans who want to get into family farming. We have a different vision for ag. Together we'll show Rastetter and his corporate ag cronies we can build an ag system that works for farmers, workers, leaders, and the environment. So everyone, hey, hey, ho, 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 corporate ag has got to go.
Corporate ag has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Corporate ag has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Corporate ag has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Corporate ag has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Corporate ag has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Hey, I want to just share a few facts with you about Sonny Perdue, the new Ag Secretary. In a 2014 op-ed for the National Review, Perdue mocked the phenomenon of climate change, railing against the left and mainstream media for their acceptance of climate science. Perdue claims that climate science is so ridiculous and so obviously disconnected from reality. Who's connected from reality?
Sunny.
Next up is going to be Debbie Bunka, and she's going to talk a little bit about a farm bill with public money for the public good.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm going to try and make this fun.
Woohoo!
So, my name is Deborah Bunk. I'm a proud CCI member.
Woo!
And I'm proud to work for the Iowa Farmers Union. IFU is Iowa's oldest agricultural organization, and we're the only major farm group in Iowa fighting for water quality, conservation, and sustainable farming practices on behalf of independent family farmers. So I'm here today to talk to you about a People and Planet First Farm Bill. In September of 2018, the current Farm Bill expires. This means that from coast to coast, Farm Bill talk is ramping up. Last fall, IFU held 2 Farm Bill listening sessions, an open forum where farmers were able to speak freely while politicians listened, if you can imagine that. Except for David Young, who, I won't go to that, We also conducted a survey at the Farm Progress Show asking farmers to identify what they would like to see in the next Farm Bill. Some of the written comments are things Iowa CCI members will recognize as part of our own agenda. Change how subsidies are distributed so family farms get some help. More conservation efforts to help with waterways. Restore the safety net for family farmers. More support for beginning farmers. These are actual quotes. Enforce existing legislation. Make information easily accessible. And make CAFO laws that reflect the best interest of the communities nearby. Of course, the number one comment, not surprisingly, was do something about the prices. Next month, Farmers Union members from across the country will descend upon the nation's capital, taking our concerns directly to our legislators and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Centering on the Farm Bill, our demands will include strengthening the disappearing safety net for family farmers. Subsidies has become the new buzzword, another way of vilifying those who did not heed the call to get big or get out. Many people have bought into the narrative that says rich farmers are getting fat in government money, but let's get real. This is simply another instance of public money feeding corporate greed. The majority of farm subsidies goes to industrial ag and large farming operations. Those families who own and operate medium and small independent family farms see very little of this money, if any. Believe it or not,
Another honk from someone going by.
there is poverty in rural Iowa. Just as you see, like in cities like Des Moines or Cedar Rapids, there's stress, depression, and even suicide amongst farmers. We need to strengthen the safety net. This means greater opening of crop insurance coverage to diversified and organic farms, which would help beginning farmers who are facing incredible odds.
Another honk.
It also means reevaluating the crop price floor, the basis in which subsidies are distributed, so that family farmers can at least recover the costs of production. Secondly, strengthen and improve the conservation title. I believe in family farmers.
Mic off.
She believes in family farms.
I believe in family farms, yes I do. And I believe that most family farmers are good stewards of the land, or at least want to be. There are many ways in which a strong conservation plank in the Farm Bill can help that happen. This means including more options, more incentives, and greater accountability. Tying subsidies to conservation is one way we might improve soil and water quality.
Another honk by someone going by.
Cutting environmental quality incentive program, or EQIP, and guaranteed loans going to factory farms would be another. Family farmers already subsidize factory farms through taxation. CAFO owners pay on average 30% less taxes and receive breaks not available to family farms. And that needs to change. The last one, keep the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, in the Farm Bill.
SNAP, formerly known as food
Food aid was
stamps.
first tied to farm aid in the 1930s in response to people literally dying from starvation in major U.S. cities. Later, FDR created the food stamp program, part of which allowed people
Franklin
to purchase
Delano
food
Roosevelt.
determined to be surplus by the Department of Agriculture. Within 4 years, this program reached approximately 20 million people across the country. Today, SNAP programs are perceived to be quote-unquote urban programs and have remained in the Farm Bill in order to try and win votes from urban members of Congress. Now, House Republicans want to separate SNAP from the Farm Bill in order to make drastic cuts easier. perhaps they don't realize that rural residents rely more, over twice as much as urban dwellers, on government nutrition assistance programs. On a far less cynical note, let me quote Bill Moyers. In my opinion, farm bills should be classified as food bills, and SNAP should continue to be a part of them. Food producers and consumers are mutually dependent upon each other. When so many Americans are low income and hungry or food insecure, that limits the amount of money they can spend on food, thus limiting income for food producers. When producers can't afford to stay on their land or face environmental threats, it threatens the availability of nutritious fresh food for consumers everywhere. A true food bill would aid hungry Americans and small family farmers alike. So I hope I haven't put anybody to sleep. The Farm Bill is much more complex than I can possibly convey in 3 minutes or even 3 hours. The gist of what I want to tell you today is, and I know many of you already know this because Iowa CCI, with its large rural membership, is a great supporter of family farms, is that everyone across this state, whether rural or urban, face many of the same challenges. What we want for everyone is economic justice. And the ability to pursue our dreams, whether they be running a small business in Ames or farming with family in Swaledale. Putting people and planet first is the surest path toward a farm bill and a better life for Iowans. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. I want to share another little fun fact regarding Sonny Perdue. Perdue has very deep ties to the chemical industry. He has received around $330,000 in campaign donations from chemical giant Monsanto, as well as other ag businesses, according to Grub Street, and was named Governor of the Year in 2009 by the GMO lobbying group Biotechnology Innovation Organization, and that ain't right! That ain't right! Okay, next up we have Larry Ginter. He's going to talk about building a farm system that works for farmers and workers and eaters and everybody.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi. My name is Larry Ginter, and I'm a third-generation family farmer from Rhodes, Iowa. The continued acceptance of government policymakers to the destruction of independent family farm, livestock, and crop production in favor of specialization and monopolization has led to the emergence of an unsustainable agriculture system of giant animal factory farm feeding operations called CAFOs, controlled by giant agribusiness conglomerates. The survival of those agribusiness factory farms depends upon a flood of cheap grains, cheap labor, relaxed environmental and workplace standards, and a very compliant county, state, and federal agencies that look the other way at all the abuses inflicted upon the environment by those factory farms. CCI members cry foul. We say we need a sustainable family farm system with production controls on grains so the U.S. doesn't dump our cheap grains on the world market, destroying family farmers all over the world. In fact, we need cross-border alliances with workers and family farmers to establish international fair farm prices and good wages with price floors on grains and an international minimum wage. Every nation that produces grains needs to implement a grain reserve in order to protect their nations against the weather anomalies like severe drought or extreme weather patterns caused by climate change. It's coming. No longer can we as citizens tolerate billion-dollar soil losses. No longer can we tolerate emergence of resistant weeds and super bugs that demand more powerful chemicals. We need to break the resistance of those crop pests by planting oats and alfalfa or clover with our corn and bean rotation program. We need livestock back on the family farms and grow pastures so cattle and hogs and chickens can once again graze in the open air. We need to throw the idea of specialization and vertical integration into the dustbin of history and demand that the justice system enforce antitrust laws and stop the monopolization of giant chemical and animal slaughter plant conglomerates. CCI members say no to Rastetter and the monopolization of agriculture here and around the world.
That's right.
No longer can we tolerate boom and bust policies that drive family farmers and their families off their land here and internationally.
That ain't right.
Once again, CCI members stand for a sustainable price system for family farmers and a sustainable living wage for workers and farmers all over the world. Chant with me. Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no.
Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no. Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no.
Thank you.
Family farms, yes. Factory farms, no.
Thank you, Larry. Hey, are these speakers experts at what they're speaking about today or what? Let's see. Let's have another just fun fact about Sonny. As governor, Perdue supported the expansion of factory farming throughout the state, applauding a plan by Perdue Farms. The poultry business, though, was not related to the governor. But anyway, he applauded this particular factory farm to expand its operation in Georgia. The plan, among other things, was to double the capacity of its livestock. So it was also he's also involved in supporting the processing plants. So you have a kind of vertical integration that's already was developing, and he was going to push it. He has also opposed clean air laws as governor. So as governor, Perdue fought EPA efforts to implement a reformulated standard for gasoline throughout the state aimed at improving air quality. The reformulation was ordered to the state, so the state would come into compliance with clean air smog standards, but Perdue fought the effort, arguing that it would raise gas prices for Georgians. Typical corporate ag thug.
That ain't right.
Okay, next up is Barb Caldwell. She's going to talk about corporate ag mergers.
She is
very deep under all the all her paperwork here. My name is Barb Tava. I'm a fourth-generation family farmer from Adair County. They tried to get rid of us, but they ain't got it done yet. Corporate agriculture has destroyed and continues to destroy family farms and rural communities. In 1995, when House File 515 was passed that allowed the establishment of a corporate livestock system, tens of thousands of family farmers raised hogs, cattle, sheep, and dairy in Iowa. My husband Jim and I had a farrow to finish operation then, and Jim also liked to feed cattle out for market. We, of course, did not raise pigs by the thousands. We farrowed 16 or so sows twice a year. That gave us around 250 pigs to raise for market. We utilized a local veterinarian, a local feed salesman, a local livestock equipment retail store, other local markets, and sale barns. These businesses employed or were owned by local people and kept lots of revenue in our local community. What a concept. So, when our hogs are ready for market, there were 4 buying stations in surrounding communities that we could call for a bid. Isn't that called, it's coming to me, free market, yeah. You know, like corporate ag is always promoting. One of them things. We had that, yeah. We could choose the bid we wanted, and would haul our hogs to that buying station. And when that buyer had collected enough hogs from surrounding farmers, he would sell and deliver them to packing plants like in Perry or Tumwa. Again, revenue stayed local. Our fed steers were sold at a local sale barn, and again, there would be several bidders, and they would be sold to the highest bidder. And what's that called again? Free market. Yeah, free market. I thought that's what it was. Oh, yeah, and Iowans had clean streams, rivers, beaches. I had never heard of a major fish kill in 1995. Never heard of it. But then came House File 515 and corporate farming. Now, one grower growing or farrowing hogs for one company, like DeCoster, Iowa Select, Premium Standard Farms, Smithfield, Cargill, they can deliver a packing plant's capacity in one day. Eventually, there were no buying stations to place a bid on our hogs. Companies would contract the feed from one source for dozens of buildings. It could contract all its health care services from one veterinarian. One company supplied the equipment and the building repairs, and pretty soon, there were no local businesses supplying these services. Revenues once created locally were gone, as were the jobs and the business owners.
That ain't right.
It isn't. And family farmers stopped growing small herds of hogs. The day that we could only find one bidder for our feedlot full of cattle was the last day we fed cattle. But this snowball is continuing to roll downhill. Now the big companies that started the industrial scale livestock production in Iowa are being bought up by countries. Smithfield Foods, the largest hog producer in the United States, is owned by China. JBS out of Brazil now owns Cargill's hog production unit. These countries, in my opinion, now bear part of the responsibility for Iowa's current 750 plus polluted waterways.
Last year was
which,
725
to the extent that the legislature
waterways,
allows, are cleaned up by Iowa taxpayers and ratepayers. Not China, not JBS. Boo. And Mr. Sonny Perdue might like to explain to me, since there is no climate change, why we have 750 polluted waterways instead of 100 polluted waterways. But I digress. So, in livestock production alone, the damage done by corporate farming to family farmers and small Iowa towns and to Iowa itself is tremendous. But corporate farming is gradually taking over grain production too. I see it in my own neighborhood. In my small neighborhood alone, huge producers are buying up or renting any land that comes up. They know it before we know it, that the land is coming up. They can and they do outbid smaller farmers that live in the community. Once again, seed production is being owned by bigger and bigger companies. Has anybody ever heard of Pioneer Seed? Yeah. They are now part of the DuPont family, but it doesn't stop there. That company wants to merge with Dow Chemical and become Dow DuPont. Monsanto wants to merge with Bayer and become Monsanto Bayer. The
Bayer
Justice
is the same
Department
Bayer
is
that
now
makes the
deciding
Bayer
on whether
aspirin.
or not to let that happen. And if they do, the two companies formed will then own 75% of seed production in the United States of America.
And it's not just grain seeds that Monsanto produces.
When that snowball, which is rolling down the hill, completes its roll, a very few companies and a couple of countries will decide who eats and who doesn't. Will this type of arrangement make America great again? You think? My gosh, I don't think so, and I don't think you do either. A broader long-term vision is needed for Iowa. Iowa's leaders and dreamers need to decide what they want Iowa to look like. Do they really want
That wasn't necessary. As a diesel.
Do they really want 4 population centers surrounded by empty countryside, poisoned by unrestricted farming methods implemented by a few companies? Is that what our leaders want? If not, steps need to be planned and put into place to recreate the verdant rolling hills of pasture and varied crop production that are good for Iowa's soil and water. Rural Iowa needs to be repopulated with people eager to start and maintain their own businesses so that small towns can thrive, so that residents can flourish. Throughout our counties, we need to recreate a state where dreams can be made again. But just the opposite is being created inside this facility today. So say with me, I believe that we will win. 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 Come on, kids, jump. We will win. I believe that 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 we will win.
Thank you, Barb. Up next is Heather. She's going to talk about a clean energy economy.
Good morning, folks. How you doing today? My name is Heather Pearson. I live in Harrison County, Logan, Iowa. I am a horticulturist. I am a permaculturist. I am a beekeeper. And I am here to tell you that we do not need industrial ag to feed the world. And I also want to start off by saying, Sonny Perdue, if you're listening, climate justice is a human rights issue. Climate justice is a human rights issue. That was for you, Sonny. So we need a community-owned energy system that is 100% clean and renewable, and that benefits 100% of the people. Bruce Rastetter's vision for ethanol, biodiesel, and fossil fuels is short-sighted, and it does not weigh out the risks to our water, our soil, our air, and our climate. These are the most important natural resources that we have.
That's right.
We need an energy system in Iowa that does not risk our health and our ability to live. We need an energy system in Iowa that works for every single one of us. Now, for instance, diversified family farms combat climate change and cool the planet while producing nutritious foods in a sustainable way. Independent family farm livestock production helps diversify farms and maintains healthy soil. We need to stop letting corporate ag rule us. We need to take away their power to destroy what is most precious. Family farmers can be leaders in the transition to a clean energy economy, but we need policies to make this a priority. We need to organize for policies that don't leave family farmers behind when it comes to wind and when it comes to solar. We need to give the power to the communities to decide what best serves the people's interest. Putting people and planet over profit. Bruce Rastetter's corporate ag vision does not transition us to a 100% clean, renewable energy economy. His vision does not put our water, our soil, our health, our climate, or our family farmers first? So I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to answer with stand up, fight back.